Welcome to the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Together we explore the vast landscapes of life, delving into the rich soil of experiences, sowing the seeds of curiosity, and harvesting the profound wisdom that each episode unfolds.
A lot of food today is processed, a lot of processed food. A lot of people are eating only processed food.
And it's processed with
processed,
that material?
that material with a lot of sugar because it's more pleasant and there's a bit of sugar into it. So there's a lot of things.
But it's not a whole food.
No.
That's the issue.
No.
And that's where...
And sometimes what they do is that because they want to re-emphasize that there is more of this omega whatever, they put a lot of this and they weaken the product with the rest. So it's not balanced. It's very unbalanced. So people are eating
It tastes good, right?
Yeah.
But you can have...
So people are eating very imbalanced food.
You can have a bag of potato chips.
Yeah.
That's not good for you. Made in Greece, but it's also using this material. And it has 2,000 calories in it.
Yeah.
You can eat the whole bag.
Yeah.
And when you're done, you want dinner.
Yeah.
Now, if you did that with lettuce and meat and some whole grain breads, you eat 500 calories and you're full. So it's the
way that people have less time to cook. Well, it's important to cook your own product because then you don't add anything of this type.
You grow your own product.
You buy proper products basically and you assemble yourself and it's perfect. It's the best way, but you need to have time to do that or to take the time to do it. And there is no value today attached to this time, which is, I think, spending your time like we do now, eating quietly, drinking, discussing, is something that is quite in the culture in France. Right. It's not in the culture of many countries where people are eating standing up, eating standing up.
Or
they don't take the time. They don't take the time to calm down. In fact, you take the time to really get your food, and if you do it quickly, you don't digest well.
Well, they correlate. If you have a short meal, like the average American eats for less than 1 hour a day.
Yeah.
I think the average Frenchman or Italian eats for closer to 3 hours a day.
Oh, 3 hours is long.
As long?
Oh, yeah.
Not for a lunch in Italy.
No, but
it'll take you 3 hours to get your bill.
On the context. But on a normal day, it will be long. But if you in the weekend, but typically when you sit down for a lunch with family, it's good. An hour and a half. You talk, discuss.
And you
exchange information. You just have a good time. And the dinner, especially the dinner, is why you have more time because the day is finished.
3 hours.
Quiet.
But the idea is that they correlated with the amount of time you spend at the table eating, the healthier you are.
Yeah.
And people think it's the opposite. Oh, I don't want to eat too much. I'm afraid of sugar. I'm not going to have fat. So I got to stay away from the sugar. And then they eat garbage.
The point is that it takes 20 minutes about to get the feeling that you are full.
Right.
And so if you eat very quickly, if you eat quietly, you in 20 minutes you have time then to regulate yourself, to say, okay, I've eaten enough or I can eat a bit more and that's fine and so on. If you eat very quickly, in 15 minutes you eat and you don't get these 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so you have no way to regulate yourself.
Like you said earlier, it's the simple common sense things that we stop listening to. Because somebody's telling us that.
And it's interesting, it's now all those things are backed up by science. Medical studies and then all those statistics and so on. So no, we have the facts. We know that.
Yeah.
We know all those.
But there's misinformation.
So the problem is now that people have to listen to those studies and to understand that yes, they have to change their practice because of those learnings. And that's
what we have in the U.S., and this is worldwide, because money dominates.
Oh, yeah, it's
money. And
this issue is worldwide.
We have something called dark money in the U.S. That's where there's big, high dollar trillionaires, billionaires that are usually oil related. That and the same thing, the same people who fought tobacco reform and whatever. There's a lot of money in it, so they can afford to bring on lobbyists. So organic farming has a couple of lobbyists. Oil has hundreds of lobbyists. So we have plastic bottles. We have here you have water in a box, or you have water in aluminum, or you have water in glass bottle. And the U.S. is still, but most of the world is still plastic. And we had I did a premiere with Woody Harrelson. I don't know if you know the actors in the U.S., but Woody Harrelson was the narrator on one in the ocean, and he worked with a baseball player, Dickerson, that was from Hawaii. So they did the beaches in Hawaii, and they were diving, and they were trying to clean the beach up. So they went and they cleaned a whole stretch of beach up with hundreds of people. They went down to the other side, and when they came back, the beach was full of plastic again. And they started doing analysis, and they took probably the best surfer in the world, the number one surfer, Kelali, I think is his name. And he's a young man, athletic, only eats vegetable and fish. They did a blood test on him, and he had 35 types of plastic in his blood. And they said the average person has plastic in your blood because it's part of our culture.
We are now studying this, and actually I heard also the studies now in how much plastic we have in our body.
It's
all of us. Micro.
It's the microbes. It's because, and the reason, like in the ocean, we talk about the microbes in the soil. The microbes in the ocean are zooplankton and plankton. They're microbial, so you can't see them. But the fish read those plastics as food. But this movie was sitting there, and they said it's possible with today's trajectory, 30 to 40 years, we won't be able to eat ocean fish in the world anymore. And
maybe we won't be able to drink water anymore. Maybe we'll switch back to wine as before.
Well, that could work out
for
some.
not?
I'm okay with that. Absolutely. But yeah, the humans are constantly adapting. But that is so we had some really good premieres at the film festival. One of the things I want to try to do is I've got all these directors now and producers. There are regenerative farming movies, but most of them have to do with cattle, with animals, moving from one location to another. And I'm like, well, when I was younger, we called that ranching, not farming. And the guy I talked to,
it's different.
It was a $15 million movie, and he yelled at me. He said, "It's farming. We're growing grass." I'm like, okay. All right. I said, okay. And he's right. But my point is I don't see the movie out there right now that's talking about treating the soil to grow vegetables and crops. And, it's the easiest crops that should almost be the law, to me, should be vineyards and orchards. Because you don't have to till to speak of. You just have to protect your soil.
And so, vineyard is within the agricultural crops is the place where organic and biodynamic and so on have developed the most.
It should be required. There's no reason not to.
But we need also to develop in other practices. The problem we have now with the floats, basically, we have all this gray water and so on. It's coming because the soils are not well maintained. They as soon as there is water, it's washed out, and the ground is very poor.
There's no infiltration.
There's no capacity to infiltrate because there is this socket that we're blocking everything. It's terrible.
I'm in the largest area in Arizona. 12,000 head of cattle that I compost with, right? So across the street from me, though, is the Saudis. The Saudis are growing 22,000 acres, which would be 18,000 hectares. Visualize that. That's like all the vineyards in Bordeaux, right? So, and they're just growing alfalfa grass. and they're sucking up the water. So we're right there is the largest aquifer in that side of Mississippi, on the western side, but it's turning from an ocean to a lake to a river because where they're sucking it out of, the water's running to now. So they're basically taking something that was formed, God, I can't remember which age it was. It was before the crustacean was belly. It was like millions of years ago in the last ice age.
Yeah, we're just exploiting that and then
and
we're destroying that.
Right, and so what they're doing is really, all they're really doing is coming to the United States. There's very few employees because it's all huge equipment that's GPS running with gas, and they're taking that land and they're growing and they're
but they're not renewing the land.
All they're doing is taking the water out.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not producing, they're not paying any tax to speak of, they're not employing anyone. And by the time
this is the bad use of the land. The land, we have to use it in such a manner that it will be sustainable. It will continue. And
I think it's 25% of American land is owned by foreign powers. You know,
so if it's owned by foreign powers but it's well maintained, that's what's important. It's not the ownership really what matters to me. What matters to me is more the way the land is treated.
True.
If it's just I take the land and 20 years later there's nothing more, I mean it's so dead, then it's not good. If it's take the land, I exploit it, but in 20 years it's at the same level, basically, of richness, and then that is fine. Then I've used the resource.
Like you said,
normally, I haven't spoiled the resource.
If you're looking at something for 100 years, then you have the right perspective. If you're looking at next month, next year, 2 years,
that's why
whether or not it's foreign owned,
that's where the regulation could work. Is to impose because the land it can be a private property, but it's also a public resource.
Right.
So it's both.
Right.
Private property, public resource. So it's always the debate.
Right.
Is it private? You can do whatever you want.
Right.
Or it goes beyond that and it's a bit public.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit public too.
Yeah.
So the private freedom basically on exploiting the land should be regulated so that the principle is that you don't destroy it.
And to me,
keep it for
that's an important, vital part of national security.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And
national, local. I mean, at all stage.
Security.
At all stage, it's giving a security to the people living around that they can be fed tomorrow. And also that they can enjoy it because it's having a beautiful nature is I mean, I think it's part of the happiness of people. The beauty of the surroundings is brings you happiness.
Right.
So otherwise you can be depressed if you see a bad landscape totally destroyed. It's depressing.
I've done podcasts in 8 or 7 ex-Soviet states, so Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia, but Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia.
In those minor areas, and
they're the same way.
When you see what they destroyed,
those people could not feed themselves once they left the Soviet Union. The same thing with colonialism in Africa. You know, they gave the land to the blacks, which, okay, that's their land, but when they gave the land away, the people who knew how to farm it, the people who knew how to be dairies, they all left.
They all left.
So
the new guys, they
had no capacity.
They do things.
Right.
And,
well, they don't have the tradition.
No, they have no
community.
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't have the knowledge.
They're just going after money.
They don't have the knowledge, so they go for short-term exploitation, which is bad.
So it has nothing really to do whether or not you're black or you're white. It has to do with the regulation should have common sense to it. That's my hope.
And either you're educated enough to know that it's important because you want to have a value basically on the long term, and so on. And if you're not, it's only the regulation, the state that has to impose it. Because otherwise, you can do. In Climens, we are faced always with this question. For example, if we have to replant a plot and put a new plants on the plot, well, we always have the choice of using a clone, basic clone, badly grafted, industrially grafted, or using a better clone with
A better
graft
rootstock,
that will actually last longer and so on. So it's a choice we have to make.
Right.
Either we go for the short term, but in 15 years, 20 years, so we've done only
For your career, it might be okay.
basic wine for 20 years, and then you have to remove it because it's bad quality, or you go for quality wine, and then you have to invest in something of better quality. So we always have this choice to make.
So what's the structure here? You're kind of in charge of everything. More or less, right? You're responsible.
So I'm responsible. So my brother is the owner of everything.
Okay.
So the castle, the land, the estate. So we have now about 80 hectares, and I'm in charge of managing that team. So we have a team of about 15 people, mostly about 10 people for the land, for growing, for taking care of the field and the cellar, and then one commercial guy, one person, 2 person here to welcome people for the visits.
And you have to have marketing people.
And then we have that's it. Yeah, no, it's a small team. It's a very small team.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's what is sometimes surprising when people know our wines and the image of Château Climens. It's okay. It's a strong historical image and so on, but the team is small. It's a small company.
Yeah.
It's a small company making a product that is internationally well known by grand amateurs, by the people who love the wines and who accept to pay the price for this type of wines. But it's a very small team. So we are it's both a challenge of keeping the knowledge, which we have been able through the last centuries to keep the knowledge of the team, and innovate, obviously, because we always have to innovate in a small environment with a small team. When you're 100 people, 200 people, it's easier to keep.
It can be his fault or his fault too. There's a lot of finger pointing.
Yeah, but it's easier to keep the knowledge because you lose one person, you have another one who knows. Here we are very limited in the number of key people who really know well the estate. So it's a transmission that has to be made. But our technical director has been here for 30 years. The one before it was the same. So we have to keep stability in the team.
How many private families have owned?
5 families have owned Climens in 5 centuries.
Wow.
We're the 5th family.
Wow. We got 100 years to go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it won't be myself.
No. Do you have, does you or your brother?
My brother has 4 daughters.
4 daughters. Do they like wine?
So they will start. They start.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. And I've seen that with like the Latour family. He died in 22 at the age of 58, so a young guy.
Yeah.
And really no apparent. His brother had to move back from the States. He lives part-time, so he goes back and forth, and he's trying to get the original brother's daughter is interested. But that's the thing with the family thing.
It takes time. Yeah, it takes time.
Some of them have an interest.
And then this is one layer, but then the other layer is the technical team working with you, so to keep those people on the long run.
Fortunately, they've done that. That's the critical part.
Yeah, that's really important because they have the knowledge of the different plots and how they behave, and it's a complexity. And even if you believe, you see the Bordeaux estates is very different from Burgundy, where you have all those small plots and clos. Here, okay, you say, well, it's 30 hectares, 80 hectares, so it's one. No, it's not one. Every plot is different.
Oh yeah, it's still treated separately.
So even if we have this tradition in Bordeaux to assemble and to make something and not to develop cuvées which are clos, which are just one clos, but more assembly. In fact, the reality of farming here is that you farm clos. You have different plots. Right. And here in Barsac, we are a clos because we are enclosed by walls.
Yeah, it's in There is technology now also that helps. My friend at the University of Michigan he's got 3 million acres or something that's satellite driven and clone driven. And he's saved about 27% on nitrogen, even though he's still working with traditional farmers.
No, but
It's
this
making a difference.
in technology, there's a lot of things we can do, and I think the drones will be a big improvement in the way we treat, for example, treating for example, with copper against the mildew, with drones, with actually optic systems that will actually identify where to treat, where not to treat. We can be much more precise. This is for me the big improvements to come, and I'm very frustrated to see the current laws we have that we are not able to use the drones today in the vineyards for treatments. We are not able. We have to have a slope of 20% to get a derogation to be able to use them. I mean, this is for me the biggest improvement we can have, because if we use the drones for treating the vineyard, then we don't have anymore to
drive
and then we don't compact the soil. This is and then we can really dose the treatment to the right level. And this, we need the solutions, but to have the solutions, the producers, I mean the manufacturers, they need the market. So it's a chicken and egg problem that as the regulation is preventing us from doing it, and there is no market and there's no solution. But we have all the technologies for that.
Yeah, I think it's
and it is not contradictory to what we do, because it's we still have the same human interaction to decide what do we do, when do we do it, and so on, and then we control what to do. We still are in control of what to do, but this technology can be a big improvement, I think. And you see this sweet wine. So it's really the Barsac style, Climens style, because it's sweetness. You see the sugar into it and sweet, but you always have this balance of freshness coming from the
This
ground.
does not taste over sugared. It just is a sweet wine, but it doesn't leave that.
It's not like a syrup, it's very delicate. And this is the Barsac style. And you can have a whole lunch or dinner with this, it's no problem. We do that regularly here.
Yeah, it can balance. This certainly could balance with
almost everything, almost everything. We balance it also with the oysters, for example. I forgot some cheese. So we can balance with cheese. It goes so well with
I have to take a piece of cheese.
With a Vieux Comté.
We don't have decent cheese. I'll scratch that out of the podcast too. But the cheese in France is unbelievable. I like the cheese in Italy, but France is
Italy is good too. Italy is very similar to France in the sense that they like good products.
Mm-hmm.
They have good food, different type of food.
Good design.
But they have good products, good quality products. Mm-hmm. The basis is always good. Which I think is the essence of life, is to eat good food. As soon as we eat industrial food, which is very bad.
Well, this is
terrible.
Our problem is right now.
We are what we eat at the end.
So they say, and what we do.
Right. Exactly.
So if what we do doesn't matter and what we eat doesn't matter, what matters?
Exactly.
So were you were originally raised,
in Nîmes.
You were raised down in Provence.
In Nîmes.
Nîmes.
You see Nîmes? What is Nîmes? It's in between Montpellier and Avignon.
Okay.
In fact, you have the Rhône Delta. Exactly. Provence, the region Provence is on the right. If you look north, and Nîmes is just there on the left.
Okay.
Just there. So it's close. It's the terroir of Costières de Nîmes is the Rhône Valley, and it's actually culturally Nîmes is closer to Provence than it is to Occitanie. So it's.
So is it mostly rosé wines?
No, there is some rosé, but there is red wine, a lot of red wine. They used to make, and it comes back to the discussion we had on the consumption of wine. they used to make a lot of wines, but they were cheap quality wine, but big yields, big volumes and so on. The region Languedoc was known for that. Big volume wines, cheap and so on. And they had a crisis in the 70s, people drinking less wine and drinking better wines. So a lot of estates stopped making wine.
Maybe the slowdown on alcohol is actually a good thing. It's a correction.
Yeah, it's a correction. It's a correction.
Let's get back to
people
quality.
are drinking less globally and then drinking better.
Mm-hmm.
So the estates that will disappear will be the ones that are not producing good wines. That should disappear because they have been planted because there was a demand. That's what happened in Bordeaux. There are a lot of places where they planted vines and they should not have planted because it was not suited to make good wine.
Mm-hmm.
Now the correction is being made and the wines that are made today at Bordeaux are good quality wines. And I think each region has experienced sometimes this type of crisis, readjustment from the past.
Yeah.
We are producing.
I was hoping that COVID would get us more adjustments. COVID for a little while,
but yeah,
everything was clean. I could drive from into LA. My daughter went to USC, and the first time coming in from Claremont, Canada, which is up on the hill, probably a good hour away, and I looked down and I saw these buildings in the distance. I was like, "What the hell is that? What direction is that?" My wife's said, "Hey, that's LA." I was like, "I've never seen LA before." And then I saw lots of different different pictures from the ocean where you could see down and you could see clean waters. That's what happens when people are shut down for 6 months, The climate is, the earth is very resilient.
No, in fact, during the COVID, it's interesting that there was big consumption of wine. Because people were at home, they were also ordering some wines from us, so getting some wine, have a good time.
What else are you going to do? One of the things I want to do is create that documentary where I can take, and I'll talk to you about it, but I want to go where people are actually successfully doing it. You're doing biodynamics. I have friends that are doing orchards. Some friends, I just met with a guy in Andreas in Tuscany, and he's been doing biodynamics. He grows 40 different vegetables, right? And for 12 years hasn't used fertilizers, hasn't plowed, he hasn't used any insecticides, fungicides. He's making his own on-site, his own compost, similar method, but different than me. And he's taking that, and then he's also using food scraps, and he's making his extracts and his teas, and it's working. So it's a little more labor intensive, but I went to Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia in October, and I podcasted there with some different farmers, but with the nomads.
Yeah.
So I was actually staying in the yurts, or they call them gurs in Mongolia, and watching their transition from being Soviet to being, a commercial capitalists. The issue they have right now is similar to what you guys have. It's the extremes that are on the unpredictable extremes. So what they're having, I can't remember the term for it, but they're getting 3 to 4 days of extreme cold. They've never had that before. Or it's so, because with plants, as you might know, if you get cold weather, it depends on how many hours.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 12 hours, 24 hours, 36. Start getting more than that, and you do real tissue damage. You lose the structure of that plant. But over there, they're losing all their animals. So these small nomad families have roughly on average of 80 animals, camels and horses, and they'll have sheep for what they're the various things they're doing, and they move those around. But in 1 4-day period, they lose all their animals, and that's it. There's no safety net.
No.
So once that's gone,
I think we face this issue with climate change, with the extremes.
yeah, and that'll be the, and to me, there has to be a safety net for that. I believe that's where the government has to come in.
Yeah.
Honestly,
insurance.
and your pricing, our price in the U.S. for food is way too low.
Mm-hmm.
It's way too low. It used to be, I think 20% was for food, and now it's down to 7%.
Yes, we have.
And people don't even care.
We have the
just
same in
eating
Europe.
junk.
It's not as extreme, but we have the same issue in Europe.
Yeah.
People have reduced the part of their budget to food to a very low level, and only a fraction of the population is eating organic and care about what they eat. The rest is eating junk food, and it's a health issue. Huh?
So
because
big time.
It's the budget, but at the end, the health system is also financed globally, and the health expenses are exploding.
So it starts with
we don't
awareness,
have
right?
enough sensitivity to the food we eat, the impact on the health, and so on.
If we sat here to finish that bottle of wine, we'd solve all the world's problems.
Yes.
Okay, I'll have one more little. Well, I appreciate all the time you've given me. It's more than generous.
It was a pleasure.
It was really enjoyed talking to you.
Huh?
Thank you for joining the Harvesting Wisdom podcast. Click subscribe and like for ongoing insightful conversations. Explore our webpage for show notes and additional resources. Visit our guests' webpage for deeper insights. Your engagement is the foundation of our journey, and until next time, keep pursuing wisdom.